Hello, everyone. It's my joy to be with you today. And it's November. And so it's time for our first how to in our how to series. And today we're going to talk about lead magnets. And what led me to do this event was, Facebook and Instagram and everything in the world shut down a few weeks ago. And a lot of you was panicking because you didn't have an email list. And there is several ways to go about lead magnets. And we're going to talk about a few of those today. But ultimately, we're going to talk about how to create a lead magnet in Canva and how to do that from scratch. And there's a couple other ways you can go about doing that if you don't have the time or you don't see yourself as handy with graphic design. And that, of course, is what I'm here for, to help you teach it. But a lot of times, lead magnets, they do take time to put together. So there's a couple of other ways you can go about doing it. But we might as well get started. If any more people come in, we'll let them in. But let's get started. So I'll share my screen. All right. Oops, wrong button. Okay. So how to create a lead magnet with Canva. That's what we're learning today. Again, if you don't know me formally, my name is Lauren Brantley. I have been a DVA, which is a design virtual assistant, and I specialize in interior visualization or architectural visualization. And I've been an e-designer as well. I work with clients as well on the side for over 5 years. And I hold a bachelor's degree in interior design and a master's degree in visual communication design, which is where I hold my expertise in graphic design as well as interior design. And I'm actually, this ain't on here, but I'm also getting my PhD in strategic media and visual communication. So it's my passion to help designers visually present their designs more effectively. And that is why I've continued my education, as well as why I continue to pour into you guys what I have been taught through my education, through my life experience. So let's get started. So what we're going to learn today is what is a lead magnet, what can you create within Canva as a lead magnet, and we're going to create it. So what is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is a marketing term. It's what all visual marketers present. I'm sure you've heard it before. If you haven't heard of it before, it's a free item, a free service, what have you. You can offer many different options in terms of a lead magnet. It's whatever you're presenting that is free that you are offering in order to gain the client's contact details. Usually it's just an email and their name. You usually don't want to ask for anything more than that, because if you do, they'll consider that off-putting, or usually people do. I personally do. I don't know about you, but I personally, if I'm giving away anything more than my email, I'm like, oh, this sounds kind of scammy. So you want to make sure you just ask for your first, maybe last name and an email when you're offering free gifts to people in terms of their email. And this example to your right, oops, I went way too far. This example to your right is the budget guide that I have on the resource store. And that has actually been used by many designers as a lead magnet. So that's kind of like what we're going to talk about later, using templates that are already pre-made as lead magnets. So what's the most important features? I asked you guys in the group what you think the most important features of a lead magnet is, because I've listed several here for you to keep in mind when you're creating it. Your lead magnet should attract your ideal client. So if you are a DVA or interior visualization specialist, you need to target designers, or even if you mentor fellow interior visualization specialists, you need to target fellow interior visualization specialists. That's such a long word. So and also anything that's geared towards either one of those will actually target designers as well. Keywords, that's goes back to SEO as well. There's a lot that can go into this. But think about your keywords in your SEO. If you're familiar with SEO, that goes back to your ideal client. Think about your ideal client. Who, when you sat down and created your ideal client, who are you marketing towards? Who is that family? Who is that designer? Who is, go down to who's that mother? Who is that father? Who is that couple? Who is what's, what state are they from? What are their hobbies? And your freebie that you're giving away needs to actually talk about maybe them hobbies, maybe what they're interested in life, what they like to buy particularly from you can be included as well, like a shopping list. And so you just need to think about that when it comes to, that's the first thing you need to think about when it comes to creating a lead magnet. And I kind of talked about this previously, but it needs to be valuable content. If your ideal client does not consider this valuable, they'll pass over, and they certainly will not give away their email. Even though we give away our emails a lot, if we're not giving it away for something that's valuable that we need right on the spot, that we're like, oh, wow, I need this. I have to have it right now for some Christmas shopping I'm doing. Like right now is a great time to make a lead magnet, especially for Christmas shopping designers. You can say designer Christmas list for kids, Christmas list for mom, whatever. It's a great time to be making a lead magnet right now for the holidays. Because people find value in that. You're a designer and they want to know, like, you can even play off brands that people know well. And if that's not necessarily your look, if you want to create your own brand and find that you want people to find value in your look, that if I value in your brand, that's fine. And I encourage that. Of course, you don't necessarily want to piggyback off other people's brands, even though they are very successful, obviously, and you'll find good traction off of doing that. Just talk about how you're a designer and you have found these pieces that will help you for the holiday get-togethers, like for your dining table or whatever. And make sure you market yourself that way. And so don't be afraid to be, dominant in the way you market yourself. But that comes into play, the value. Make sure you market yourself valuable. Next, it should pave the way for a great working experience. A budget guide, like I mentioned, the budget guide that's in my template store. A lot of designers use this as a lead magnet because as a designer, there's a lot of leads that we get organically from our websites that doesn't necessarily realize what things may cost. And it's hard to explain that just via email, like with no guide. So you as a designer know what the average cost for a sofa is in a budget, and you know what the cost is for a pillow. And your client or potential client may come in thinking that a pillow may cost a certain a certain price that's completely just way off the mark of what your typical budget is. And by utilizing a budget guide, you can be like, here is the 3 tiers of budgets I work with. And it completely sets the tone of the work experience, and you're able to go throughout that experience with the client, knowing that you started well and you're going to end well and not worry about it. Okay. The lead magnet should be beautiful. Now, then this is more kind of obvious. You know, we're in like a graphic design for interior designers group. But a lot of times, I mean, I've downloaded lead magnets and they're like on a Word document or something, and there's nothing to them. They're just words. And that's really disappointing. I mean, if there's been no effort put into the lead magnet that I am downloading, and I just gave away my email for that. I mean, to you, it may not be a big deal to give away your email, but I don't like giving away my email for nothing and my name and all that. So I feel like it's a waste of effort if you don't get anything that provides value back to you, if you just provided their email. And the thing is, when you provide your email like that, they're going to keep emailing you. That's the point of a lead magnet anyways, is that you get them to agree to be on your email list and you can keep emailing. Well, if it's not beautiful and there's like completely off the rails when it comes to graphic design, they will automatically unsubscribe because they're so displeased with what they got. So you don't want people to automatically just unsubscribe to your email list. It needs a call to action. And what I mean by that is when it comes to your lead magnet, you'll go through and you'll put all this wonderful information that you've provided. You've like a checklist, like we're going to go through a checklist today. But at the end, and I don't know if for time's sake, I'll be able to get to the end, but at the end, when I'm done with it, and I'll post the done version, hopefully by the end of the week. By the time it's completed, you'll have a call to action that says message me or contact me for mentor sessions. Please check out our services page, or anything like that, or email me for more information about such and such. Or if you want them to check out a blog post, you'll be like, check out this blog post for more information. And then the blog post will have like affiliate links, things like that, which you should also have affiliate links. If you're doing a shoppable lead magnet, you need to have affiliate links in the lead magnet as well, which is completely, you can put anything in a lead magnet. But let's see, let me get some water. So how do we create it? I know that's like at the top of your mind here. Ways to create a lead magnet. And this is what I was talking about. There's several options. Option 1, start from scratch, which is what we're going to talk about today. Option 2, use a template. And that is when you would go to a store like mine that has templates, several different templates, and pick one that you want to use for a lead magnet. So let me show you. So this is my store, and I know like some of y'all, a lot of y'all have already been to it. And right here, you go to classic Canva templates. And there's a couple on here that people use for lead magnets. One is the budget guide. And as you can see it has a living room, bedroom, and see it has all this already templated out for you. All you have to do is add your name and your business information and a little bio. So this is already very nicely put together. And then another one that people like to use is our welcome packet. This is very nice to use to welcome like clients, to tell them that, you know, that you've, if like, you know, let me hold on one second. Let me show you. All right, so this is my eDesign website. So if you have a contact us button, like a contact us form like this, what you can do, and what I've seen my template buyers do, is once they click the send button, and this is how mine works as well, this welcome packet gets sent to them. And that's a very easy way to go about automatically sending out these documents. And you can also advertise that you'll get a welcome packet if you fill out this information. So that's considered a lead magnet. So that's how you would do a template. And you can also hire a professional, which is really a great way if you want everything customized, to hire somebody to do it, especially if you're not comfortable doing it yourself, which is completely understandable. Lead magnets do take time to put together. But you know, today we're going through how to put it together ourselves. So, but if you don't feel like you can put it together yourself, you can always hire a professional. And if you need somebody to do it, you can always reach out to me and I can give you a quote. So, what is our interior design lead magnet ideas? And this is just some of the ideas that I have. There'll be more in the Canva course that's coming out next year. But these are just some of the lead magnet ideas. A budgeting guide, like I've said previously, a project planning guide, tips and tricks. There is endless of tips and tricks guides you can come out with. Measuring tips, all this. Kitchen, if you're a kitchen designer, you can do all kinds of kitchen guides. One for every blog post if you want to. It is endless. People always want to know about what to do with their kitchens. Color guide and a window guide. Window guide is really great. I know there is lots of designers that do them, but there's never enough of these guides. People are always finding new ones. So don't be discouraged if you feel like, oh, this has been done too much. This has been overrun by other designers. Don't feel that way. People will find you and fall in love with you in your blog post, and they'll want to give out their email for your guide because they love you. So don't feel that way. All right. So let's get started on creating our lead magnet. All right. So first thing I want to talk about is the information that needs to be gathered. So I have this lead magnet I'm creating. It's everything you need in order to get started with 3D rendering, because I'm an interior visualization specialist, and I want to use this to bump my SEO and, blah, 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 blah. And this was a blog post that I previously written, and now I'm going to create it into a lead magnet, which is a very popular way to do this. If you have any blog posts that are pretty popular and they're more informational, use that content to create a lead magnet. It's not something that you have to necessarily write endlessly. Try to dig into your blog post and see, maybe I have a blog post that I can write or rewrite into a lead magnet. You never know. It's something that, you may not have thought about previously, but now you're like, hey, Lauren said this. That sounds good. So what you'll want to do is put all this into a Google Doc, or this is how I do it. And then you'll go over to Canva and you'll type the ebook. And then create a blank cover. And this one's going to be fairly simple. We're not going to go into much detail because of the time and everything. I think, we only have like 70 minutes left. So we aren't going to go, we may not get it all done, but we're going to go into the basics of how to do this. So let's see. First, I like to get my border and my rough idea of what I want for the text. I'll do the cover last, and then I'm going to try to figure out the text first. So what I want to do, I like to put a border around this stuff. So I'll go to Elements, Border. If I don't like any of these borders, I'll just make my own. Let's just make our own. So what you'll do is you'll get a line and shapes. And then just put it directly on the grid there, like when it snaps. And then you can change the line weight here. I usually like it to be about 3, maybe 2. And then copy it and paste it. I'm using Command C, Command V. If you have a Mac, if you don't have a Mac, if you have a PC, it's Control C, Control V. And then as you can see, I'm just using the rotate tool here until it snaps, and then dragging these down, these little dots here down until they snap to that. And see, now I can actually click this top one and then hold Shift down and click this one, and then Command or Control C, Command or Control V, and then rotate this 180 degrees. And now we have a border. Make sure all that connects. All righty. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So. Okay. So now we'll go over here to text. And they have, I use these text templates periodically over here on the side. You just scroll all the way down. Let's see if I can find what I'm looking for. Well, I can't. That's okay. Okay, just click add a subheading. And what we're going to do, we're going to try to format the text to my liking, to where I don't know if any of you ever used InDesign or let me see, what am I trying? Yeah, InDesign. And it's the top software to create ebooks, and it makes it quite easy to format text. Canva, you can use Canva, of course, to create these documents, but we are going to have to go through a few extra steps in order to format it accurately. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to choose our font, and I use this font for my brand quite often. And of course you can scroll down to wherever, and if I'm going too fast for you, and if I'm skip some of the steps that you're not familiar with in any of this video, I encourage you to go back to our Canva Basics seminar that's located in the announcements, because I may skip some of the basic stuff that I'm not talking about in this one. So if you are like, oh no, how does she change the text or something, go back to the Canva Basics seminar before you watch this, and really any of the seminars before this one, so that way you can catch up. No worries, everything's recorded. That's why we record everything. So what we want to do is make sure everything's aligned and everything looks good. So we'll go back to our Google Doc, and we'll use this first paragraph, Command C or Control C, and Command or Control V, and C is entirely too large. And we want to go use this alignment tool, and I like the alignment to be, completely that way. And I want it to be half the page using our little move tools here. And now what you'll need to do is change the font size. And change it a little bit more. Whoops. Oops. And since that still is not quite big enough, want it to be half the page, I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit more text. And copy this one. What you're trying to create here is an overflow effect for the text, which is typically naturally created in InDesign. You can automatically create it. But Canva doesn't quite yet have them capabilities. They have all kinds more capabilities that I will be announcing later on in the week. They've added even more things that was, they've already updated so much this month, but I'm going to announce more. I got to make a slideshow for it. So what we'll do is see where it's ending. We'll delete that. First, you want to do Command or Control C, Command, and then delete it. That way you don't lose this. And then you want to select your text box and duplicate it. And make sure the spacing is correct with this. Okay. just check your spacing with all this. You want to check it. Okay, so now what we have is some nicely formatted text, which is the first and most important part of creating these lead magnets. And now we want to add a photograph up here. So I got elements. Let me see. Go to grids, and you'll just click that. You'll literally just click it and bring this up there. And you can leave it like that. It does look nice like that. But for the time, I think I'm going to actually leave it to where it's like kind of below that. I like that effect. And all you're doing right now is just forming a layout. You're not trying to get everything really beautiful right now. That's part of graphic design that a lot of people have a hard time with is, and I had a hard time with when I first started doing it, is you're trying to prepare the design before creating the design. And so, which if you really think about it, that's actually fairly similar to interior design. But there's a lot more about that in my graphic design course. But what you'll want to do now that we have that layout for that page, you'll want to duplicate that page because we want to keep the border most likely. And we might want to keep one of these text boxes. It's yet to be seen. We got to figure out what our next page is here. Our next page is 2 more paragraphs. So we'll just copy that. Oh, these are just, I need to delete those actually. Those are just copies of what it was. So actually, this is actually going to be a testimonial, which I actually highly encourage you to include if you're doing something towards clients or towards possible mentees or anything like that, which you should be doing it towards clients. But include at least one testimonial about your product because clients see that and then they'll want to work with you possibly. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete these paragraphs. Then we're going to bring this down to where it's even. And then I want to add a box so that way the testimonial will show. So just click and then I'll put, and you see like when I'm dragging, I'm just using these drag tools here. And then you'll always want to change the color of these to your brand colors. We talk about that all the time, the brand colors. Now I have a pro account, so I'm using the brand kit. We'll talk about the brand kit more in our pro event, but it's very helpful if you have a pro account to use your brand kit. If you do, you'll just click. If you don't, you can use this little tool up here, add a new color and insert your hex code. Or you can pick the color from the design with the new feature that I love. And now we'll go back to text and subheading. It's critical to make sure that your type is constantly the same, or at least cohesive in what you're talking about. Because if it's not, it will be very displeasing. I mean, extremely displeasing. Your reader will be like, what is this that I just downloaded? Okay. Now we're going to put the title, which is the client's story. You'll use a heading for that. Now this, I want to use a what we call a script text. Sometimes it's not called script text. Sometimes it's called handwriting, things like that. But I want to definitely use that type of text because I want it to be more fun. I want it to give like life to the document. And so the one I typically use in my brand is down here, Amsterdam 4. It's just a fun little text. There we go. And then I'll change that to my other color here. And then what I want to do is add the client's name. So what I do is I'll duplicate this and then add the client's name. I'm going to add a little dash. And what I want to do is I want to bold the client's name and italicize it. Okay, so that's that part. As you can see, a lot of this is more of copying and pasting because once you get the initial border and the grid down, once we get past that part, we'll be able to actually implement our design and figure out how we want this to look. So now we're into the next part, which is more of the fun part actually. Is the most common platforms used in interior visualization. So we're going to create a page for that. We're going to start with this page. And because we want everything, like I said, to be cohesive and stay the same. And so I'm going to actually add a little part like that. And I'm going to change the alignment of this because it's aligning to the right, but we want it to align to the left. I actually like it aligning. Oh yeah, it's aligning to the left. Okay, yeah. Lord, I am so dyslexic sometimes. You'll have to ignore me. Oh goodness. But this one, let's see, we want it to align to the right. Let's do that. Okay. Now I can't. There we go. So this title is going to look a little bit different, but it'll be all right. what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same text as this, but it's going to be larger, similar to my logo. So I'll duplicate this. You do a lot of duplicating in graphic design only because you want everything to be so cohesive. Now I got to figure out how to lay this out. So let's see here. These longer sentences is difficult. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make just visualization. I don't like that neither. Okay, well, I don't like that. Okay, so I think we're gonna try something different. It's all about playing around. But like I said in my previous video though, when it comes to typography, you had to be very careful when messing with these script text, because like you see, they can really change your whole look. But see, when I simplified it, and then this is a great example of what I talked about previously. When I simplified the whole design there, in front of your eyes, and got rid of that box, and then moved these to the center, it looks a lot better, a lot. So now we're going to copy these paragraphs here and add them to the ones we previously formatted. So we're going to find the end. That's fine. Okay. So there's that. Now what we need to do is make this list here. And this list consists of the rendering softwares that I'd like to talk about in my lead capture. And so what you'll need to do, what I'll need to do when it comes to this is actually in my list. I actually end up needing to get each of their logos and then implement them into the list. And so I'll go back and forth and make that list, make that list with the logos. So I'm going to delete all this actually, because it is just going to be a list. Well, I'm not going to delete this because I'm going to be copying this little sentence right here. And what you want to do when you have like a sentence that's interrupting your list, you want to just center it, because it's going to look wonky aligned if you don't. And to make a list, what I like to do to start out my list is find in elements the circle. And when you click it, it'll just drag over, and then figure out what color of my brand I want it to be. Probably want it to be this darker taupe looking color. And then you'll just drag it littler and littler. And then you'll get it centered. And I'm going to add a 1, but one thing you can also do is just look up the number 1. And they have some, most of these are pro, but if you go here and hit free, sometimes it'll apply the filter, sometimes it won't. But there is some like this one, that one, that one. There is some numbers that are free through here that are really helpful, but the complete free way is to do it like what I'm doing. And then you'll add the text, then type 1 and center it to the circle. And then you'll make it white. And now what you want to do is add the first name, which is Chief Architect. Okay. And center it to the circle. Well, let's make that. And then you want to copy this paragraph here because you want a paragraph text, and then you want to align it to the left as well. And you want to copy this paragraph that you wrote in about your first thing on your list. Whoops. That's an accident. I usually make this a sans text because it makes it easier to read. Because you're going to want it to be small. Okay, and now that you've done that, what you want to do is hold the shift key down and select all of those and then group them. And Command or Control C, Command or Control V, and then copy them all the way down until you have enough. Okay, I'm not going to change every single one of those for the time, but once you get through copying all that stuff and pasting it, whatever, you want to add another page that is going to be your call to action. And so how you would do that is, what I usually do is I make a button. And so how you would do that is you come through here and you go to the lines and shapes, and they have this rounded rectangle. And what you'll do is you'll make it a little button, change it to your brand colors, and then add text and put click here. Change the color so people can see it. And then what you want to do is you want to hold down the shift key and hold down the rectangle. And then there is a button that says group like previously. And then there's a button that comes up that says the link. You want to click that. And when you come to your website here, you want to click services or whatever page you want it to go to. And let's say I want it to go to my refresh services. I'll select the link and hit copy. I'll go back and then I'll paste my link. And you can always uncheck the underline. And then what you'll do once you're done and make sure you like upload your images as well, like I've talked about in previous videos, and you can drag them into the grid that we created. Once you're done with that, you can also add links to your images as well. Same way, you just click and they're in there. Once you're done with that, you've put all your links, you've put all the words and everything. You want to hit download and make sure you select PDF print. And then you hit download. And let me stop my share for a second so that way we can make sure we see that PDF. All right. So here it is. And as you can see, if I scroll down and I can click this and click there, allow, takes me right to my refresh page, which is great. Another thing I want to talk about real quick before we have to go, I want to talk about, as you can see, I've used in my online business, I've used the budget guide as my lead magnet. So how do I do that? Because when you hit download now, it takes you to a little page. How I do that is I personally use Dubsado. Log in. Okay. So if you're familiar with Dubsado, and if anybody wants any kind of tutoring on Dubsado, you can reach out to me. But also, if you want me to do a video on Dubsado, let me know. But I'll also be having Dubsado templates out, hopefully by the end of the year. But so that's all exciting. But if you're familiar with Dubsado, all you had to do is hit templates in forms, and you can create a lead capture that sends out automatically within Dubsado. It's a great tool to use for lead magnets or lead captures. And all you have to do is set up this little form. It's super easy. They already have a template for you. Then you go to settings, and it'll say, thank you for submitting this form. And you apply what's called a workflow. And that is under workflows here. And as you can see, this is my workflow. It sends out the budget guide immediately after they complete it. And then it will start sending out emails wondering which service is best for them and start talking to them in a way. And then they can, if they're interested in the services, they can select a package. So Designado is an amazing tool. I highly recommend it. I'll post my referral link in the description, and I'll also post the Canva basics video that I talked about that you need to watch before you watch this. And I'll post about a few other things that I'm getting ready to talk about. Oh, and I'll post about the client budget link. I'll post that if you're interested. You don't want to like start from scratch or anything. So let's get back to the presentation before we leave. Okay. Okay, so coming up next, we have our third lesson of walking through Canva. We have basic logos inside Canva. We kind of talked about logos a little bit last time, but this time we're going to talk about more like geometric logos, things like that, and how to create them inside Canva more in depth. Then we're going to be talking about Canva Pro. And then finally, the much anticipated reels, how to create reels inside Canva. So that's going to be very exciting. That's our next how-to. Lots going on in November and December for the group, and lots more. Oh, this slide first. Oh, if you don't know by now, I have a course on graphic design for interior designers. It is located in eDesign-U, and I go much more in detail as far as the graphic design side of things. And you learn about type-based layout and color, and you learn about why it is so important for interior designers to learn graphic design. And I also go into a little bit about Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and the comparison of all four of those. So maybe you can figure out which one's best for you. Let's see. Coming in 2022, we have Canva course for interior designers. And this is going to be a course that I have been planning for a while now that will be launching next year. Hopefully by the spring. And I am excited about it. I hope you guys will jump on board with me as well, being excited about it. But it's an exciting time for my company and graphic design for interior designers. And speaking of my company, if you haven't seen already, Laura National Design is putting on Christmas Rendered. We're doing the Grinch this year. Registration is now open, and you need to come because it is going to be amazing. I have never done a project like this. It's really blowing my mind what all we are accomplishing, me and my husband. And if you register, you get, for the month of November, you get weekly emails that is inside information regarding the house, and also you get letters from the Grinch, so that's totally fun. And then in the month of December, you'll be getting daily emails talking about the daily blog posts that we will be posting each day. So, and only if you're registered. Even if you're subscribed to my emails, which one will actually be going out today, Wednesday. I have a weekly email that goes out each Wednesday. Even if you are subscribed, you will not receive these registration emails that will be going out once a week during November and daily in December. They're extra special emails, and you will not receive them. And also you get a extra entry into the giveaways, which I'm going to talk about next. The giveaways are awesome. Awesome. We're doing $15, $25, $50, and $100 gift cards to the template shop. And I know you guys love the template shop. So you really want to try to enter into these giveaways. The interior design starter pack we're giving away. The an interior design t-shirt, one of your choice. That's going to be one of the earlier giveaways, and Pinterest graphics, which are super easy to use. And many of you have given rave reviews for them. The real graphics, and the grand prize is going to be an interior design t-shirt, the business ready pack, $100 gift card to the shop, excuse me, the Reels graphics, a logo design or redesign done by me, and a special thank you prize. So I'm super excited about that. And with that, I say thank you, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. And I look forward to seeing you guys throughout the week. And please join me for the next seminar, and let me know of any ideas for a seminar you guys have in the future.